Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. It's match day, and Mark Sheriff is with me. The Sheriff is with me. Mark, we haven't played for 8 days, and it feels like a very long 8 days, doesn't it? Are you happy that we're back?
It's been lovely. Honestly, the rest has been fantastic. We haven't had to worry about we haven't been stuffed, beaten. We might have won. It's been lovely. I've loved every match. To be honest, now I'm looking forward to the international break. I never ever thought I'd say that and watch England.
I'm not. Listen, I know I don't like Angie's style of play and stuff, but I genuinely do not look forward to the international breaks. What makes me laugh about the international breaks is England play somebody really rubbish. They win about 5-0 and people go, oh, God, look at England. And you're like, yeah, but we've just played like a non-league national team, Anyway, it is Spurs today. We are on the road to Bilbao, as so many people have kept telling me. The road to Bilbao. And just so you know, Lubo is in the air. Our very own Lubo. He sent us some pictures today. Going from Luton Airport, Mark. I'm not a fan.
Dreadful. Not a fan. I've been there twice. And I didn't fly from there, but I was a cabbie, so I picked people up from there, and it's dreadful. Dreadful.
Awful.
It's a long way for me to get there, but it's dreadful when you get there.
Absolutely. By the way, as George says, if you haven't subscribed to the second channel, please do. We're only 2 subscribers away from 800 now in 2 weeks. So I'm pretty proud of that. Nearly 800 subscribers in 2 weeks. If 5-10 of you would smash that, the link is pinned. I might have lied there. The link is going to be pinned in about 5 seconds by yours truly, Richard Charles Savva. There it is. That's my name. So there it is. Good morning to all of you. Let's see who we've got in the chat. We've got Vinny. We've got the Queen herself, Queen Ellie Højbjerg. We've got the Aussie Ange hater, formerly known as Bella. Big up to you, Bella. Tony Rodriguez is in the chat. Today he's calling me Savva. Yesterday he was calling me Richard. Big up to you, Tony. Big up to George. Big up to Finn Rickwood, my main man. Finn is in the house. Kate Rickson, good morning to you. Good morning to Marios, Jimmy, Barbaric Disdain. Joey Barton's in the house. Of course, Joey Barton's in the house. Philly, the brother from the other mother, he's here as well. Rob T is in the house. Strip Bear, who's a Chelsea fan, is here. Costa del Spurs is in the house. Spurs Steelers is in the house. Mark Taylor, the Boonverse, Daniela Stewart. Big up, Daniela. Hope you're well. Snosbury. Look at this. It's a great time to be alive when this garbage Tottenham side isn't playing. He's 100% right.
Yeah, there we go. See, as always, the voice of reason.
Morning to you, Snos.
The voice of reason.
Snosbury? Yeah, Snosbury. We're only 1 subscriber away from 800 on FHTV Plus. So someone get over there. Ben, the Kaufmeister. Yeah, the Kaufmeister. The mod father is here. Says Riza Chaza Savva time. Big up to you. Fran is here. Big up to Fran. Good morning to Andy. Good morning to Corey, the mouse from the south. Anthony Clark. We've got Arsenal fans in here. Chelsea fans in here. We've got Stian. We've got Jamax. It's my old airport friend. You know, when you bump into people from YouTube in Dominican Republic. So big up to you. Big up to THFC Kai. We'll get to the lineup in a minute. I'm a fan is in here. Alex McCarthy, and I'm not doing any more. I've put a poll in the chat to ask you, how many goals will Spurs score tonight? The options are 0, 1 to 2, 3 to 4, or 5+. At the moment, 60% have said 1 to 2. 6% of you think we're going to get 5 or more in Holland. They think we're going to do an Arsenal. Mark.
You did miss my brother out, by the way.
Did I? Where?
He's just below Ben.
Sorry, so sorry. There, I did. The Cookmeister. So sorry.
No, that's right. I just saw him.
Inside the house. So big up to you as well. And welcome to absolutely everyone. Mark, you and I, had the pleasure of being alive last time Spurs won a Europa League, or what it would have been called the UEFA Cup in those days. Now, I was there, but I was only a 3-year-old. I was taken, but couldn't. I was free, right? I was.
Yeah. So you probably don't the memories of like non-existent.
Nothing. I just was there, and since I've said to people, why was I taken? Like what was the purpose of taking? Anyway, it's been a long time, Mark, since we won. 1984. So we're going back 41 years since we've won the Europa League. Is it our time? Is our name on this trophy?
If you believe the bookmakers, yes, it is. Because I believe we're still favourites. Whether that's just the bookmakers in this country, I don't know. Because I was told that it's the bookmakers in this country because, because it's this country, everyone's going to bet on us or Man United to win it. But I don't know whether that's a worldwide thing. But every time I look, we are still the favourites.
We are. It's baffling.
Yeah, it is baffling.
I'll tell you what, let me show you how baffling this is. I mean, what do they know that we don't about Angeball? So if everyone can see that, I know it's a tiny bit small, but Tottenham are basically, you can get Tottenham at 4-1 with most bookmakers. I think there's a 7-2, so there's a 3.5-1 there as well. Then you've got Bilbao. Bilbao were actually the favourites, by the way, this time last week, but they floated out to second favourites because they've drawn Roma in the cup. So Roma are obviously a very good team. You've got Bilbao. What the lowest you can get Bilbao is 5-1. I think you can get Bilbao there. Man United, you can get as low as 5.5-1. I think you've got there. You've got some 11-2s. Lazio, you've got a 5s and 6s to 1. Real Sociedad, you can get the lowest at 10-1. Then you go out to Frankfurt, you can get at 10 or 11-1, but mostly at 14s. And then Roma, I'm surprised Roma are as far down as that at 11 or 12-1. Mark, I don't watch Tottenham, the team that have lost 14 Premier League games, the team that concede goals for fun that are wide open, and say they're the favourites to win anything. Why are we the favourites?
Well, normally the odds are worked out by how much money comes in. Is that right? It's how much gets lumped on. I think so.
I'm not an expert, but I'm sure there will be betting experts in the chat. And my man Chris Checkitts, if he's about, he works for a bookmaker, so he might be able to tell us. But
I'm sure the odds are determined by how much money's coming in. Because they're not. Because if people are piling loads of money in on like Spurs to win it, they're not going to give you 20-1, are they? Yeah. The odds are going to slowly come down and down and down. Because at the end of the day, gambling's all right, but there's only one winner, isn't it? It's the bookmaker.
Oh, of course. Have you ever met a poor bookie?
No, never. No. If you ever want to look at gambling, just look at Las Vegas. That is built on people's. It's not people going there and rooking the casino and then leaving.
Yeah.
You see what's going on there with the bright lights and everything's fantastic and plush and lovely. It's not built on. It's built on people losing. There's never ever a poor bookmaker ever.
Well, there never can be because unless. Let's take the Europa League, for example. So the outright winner odds there. Let's say, just going to make it up. Let's say 1 million people all bet with, let's pick a bookies, Bet365. So Bet365 have Tottenham Hotspur at 4-1, right? Now, let's assume 1 million people have a bet on somebody to win the Europa League. For the bookies to lose, you would need nearly all 1 million to bet on Spurs and all 1 million to win because Spurs win the Europa League. But what will happen is those 1 million people, how many people will go, I'm going Frankfurt, I'm going Bilbao, I'm going Roma, I'm going Fenerbahce, I'm going Man United. So it spreads over the time and they win,
of course
right?
It does.
They love it. Like the bookies love a draw. The bookmakers, I remember speaking to one once, they love a draw. because not many people in their ACCAs bet on a draw.
And a lot the bookmakers hate when the favourites come in as well.
Yes.
When the favourites come in, they hate it because they literally lose money then. You know, if an outsider comes in, say in a horse race, like the 20-1 outsider comes in, they love it because most of the money's gone on the favourites.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, we are the favourites. We are the favourites. So Ange Postecoglou has to win the Europa League. We're the favourites. He has to go and win it. Just by way of example, the opponents today, AZ Alkmaar, are fourth from bottom in terms of favourites. So they're the 11th favourite. What's there? 16 teams left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on Fenerbahce, 10, 11, 12. They're the 13th favourites with the bookmakers to win the Europa League. And you can get AZ Alkmaar at 50-1. With all of that said and done, surely Tottenham are going to at least get... I don't think we're going to win the tournament, but I do think we should be winning. And I've got us down for a 3-1 win tonight. That's where I'm at.
I will definitely go through.
Yeah.
Whether we'll win tonight, you never know. You never know. But like, I can see us make... At worst, we're going to draw tonight, in my opinion. To be honest, well, because there's 2 legs.
Yeah, of course. Look, it's I look at it like this. I think as long as we don't do anything silly tonight, for me, like there's no need to go gung ho. There's no need to go crazy. There's no need to be miles wide open. And the biggest danger from whenever I've watched AZ Alkmaar this year is their left winger.
Yes.
Their left winger is Poku, P-O-K-U. And he was quite good in the first leg against Spurs. Now, one man alone isn't enough, I think, to take a team through. But everyone knows, Mark, where we are weakest, and it is in... And if anyone wants to know where Lubo will be tonight, this will be Lubo when we score. There he is. Look, right at the front. Lubo, I love Lubo so much. He cracks me up. So we're not allowed to say we win, draw, or lose. I love these. Look, the squad hasn't been balanced in years. If we get to the semis, let alone Matt, you told me earlier in the season we were going to win the Europa League. Matt, you assured me we were going to win the League Cup and the FA Cup as well. You told me, Savva, all year you've told me, Savva, you're going to look stupid when he wins all these trophies. Now it's getting to crunch time. Suddenly, I love these people. Oh gosh, I love it.
No, well,
love it. I mean, look, by the way, we've got a lot of players tonight. Here we go. Oh, sorry, David D. Almost like you dislike your team. I love David D. People like David D are amazing. Can we just have a moment to clap how dumb this person is? I'm not an Ange fan, Savva, but I think you're very negative. Sure, we're 13th in the Premier League table. We've lost 14 games this season, and we went out of both domestic cups of a whimper. What's negative about that, David? I'd love...
Well, it's factual.
I love these people. I love these people.
No, but almost like you dislike our team. No, man, look. No, I'll speak for myself.
Go for it, Mark.
I'm 55 soon. I've supported Tottenham all my life. This is the worst manager I have ever seen in my life, and I saw us get relegated. Let's get that in there. I was alive in 77 when we got relegated. Right? Oh. He is the worst manager I've seen. The football club is run the worst it's ever been. The worst it's ever been from the owners. And so over the last few years, certainly, my love for Tottenham has dwindled. I will still watch them. And I will support them. But my love for the team is gone. It's gone. I'm not bothered anymore. I'm really not bothered until the owner steps up, or until the owner steps up and runs a football club like a football club. We just will not bother because we're just run now as it's a money making machine. That's all it is. That's all it is. Football doesn't matter.
Isn't this right from Dan? Some's got to realize you don't have to like to love. Do you know where I think people get it confused, Mark? Listen, I absolutely loved Tottenham under Harry Redknapp, for example.
Yeah,
Everyone
Martin
knows I'm a
Yole,
big Harry Redknapp fan.
Martin Yole, Harry Redknapp, Pochettino. Yeah,
loved Tottenham under these managers, and I love Tottenham now. What I don't like is I don't like this team under Ange. I don't like this style of play. So when he's saying it's almost like I dislike my club, you have to ask questions, and I'm going to say it about people's maturity. Like, what sort of maturity levels are there? You know, what can you know, when somebody's honest about something, oh, you don't like your club. Well, no, I don't like my club losing 14 games, Mark. I really don't.
And let's face it, it might be up near 17, 18, 19, 20 by the end of the season.
Yeah.
Because we still got to go to Stamford Bridge. We still got to go to Anfield. We still got to go, you know, we got Forest at home. That's not going to be easy. Well, any game in the league's not bloody easy.
And the players are back now, Mark.
Yeah, exactly. So there's no excuses anymore. There's no excuses.
There are no excuses. So all the excuses I've been told by people, sure. Do you know what? Yeah. Do you know what? We're at that stage where if everything I've said about this manager is wrong and he goes and wins that Europa League, do you know what, Mark? I'm old and ugly enough that I come on screen and go,
yeah,
fair play. You proved me wrong. Still think you were crap in the league, but thank you very much for winning a trophy. Absolutely brilliant. Right?
Fantastic.
But we're also at the stage now where all the players are back fit, right? So if he doesn't win that and Tottenham finish in the bottom half of the table, don't win any trophies this season, then statistically, he's had our worst season for nearly 20 years. If not, it could be our worst season since we were relegated in 77. And this is the fine line of football. That is the fine line, right?
I've said, right, in my 54, nearly 55 years of being on this earth, this is the worst manager I've ever seen at this football club. Right now, you got to remember, in 1977, when we did get relegated, that team had been in decline. That team had been in decline for a while, a long while. Quite a few years that team had been in decline, and we eventually went down. Right now, this team, if you look at the team that we have now, we're nowhere near relegation material. If you look at the actual squad, and it's had money spent on it. It's had a lot of money spent on it. You know, so this is the worst manager I've seen in my lifetime. By a long way. By a long way. It was like I said in 77. In 77, the team had been regressing for 3 or 4 years since Bill Nick left. You know, it was under the stewardship of that ex-Arsenal manager come in.
By the way, when we're saying Christian Gross was worse, Christian Gross this season under Ange, she's got a worse points per game ratio.
No. This is the worst manager I've seen in my 50-odd years of supporting this club.
No, I agree. I mean, look, Nick, it's interesting, isn't it? What's happened now, Nick? What's happened is now we're getting to the business end of the season. All of the people that have been giving it the big one all year, they've been giving it the big one all year. And this works both ways onto me, Nick, right? I've been giving it the big one that we're not going to win sod all. They've given it the big one. We're going to win the League Cup. You watch Savva. You watch Nick. You're all going to be in the. You know that mud that people love on the internet, Nick.
Yeah.
You know that mud that you buy on Amazon, right?
I heard the quad was on at the start of the year.
Right. It was the quad. Then it was the treble. Then it was a double. Now all of a sudden, all we've got to play for is the Europa League. Those very same fans, Nick, now have got those excuses falling out their pockets.
Injuries,
even though all the players are back fit now.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think at the start I wanted it to work, but then with more information and more thingies, you become more savvy to it to actually change your mind, right? And it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to hold your hands up and got it wrong. I got it wrong. I'm like you, Savva. There's nothing more than you wouldn't come on and say, "Oh, do you know what? Fair play. He's won a trophy. I've got it wrong." But we can't. I'm not going on Sunday. I've got rid of all my tickets. I'm not renewing my season ticket because one is going to be another increase, and two, for my own mental health in terms of Spurs, but in terms of not actually having to get wound up by going there, right?
Mhm.
I feel better. I don't feel anxious. I don't feel whatever's going to happen. But these people who are now doubling down and everything else, right? Are now doubling down, like Matt, right?
Yeah.
Our fan base is negative. Reality, whatever you want to call it, Matt. There's no level-headedness. What do you mean? What do you mean? There's no level-headedness. You're saying we're going to win a quad. You're saying we're going to do all of this, and it's not going to happen. We will get, or we should get to the semi-finals, and then we'll see what happens. If he wins a trophy, then let's see. But there's plenty of ifs, buts, and maybes in between that, right? But the players are coming, right? 100%. I won't be surprised if Romero's plays some part today, even starting. 100% Slanky may come off the bench. I don't know, but are we then going to say, "Oh, Kulu's out now," so that's going to be the reason? I don't know.
Do you know what? This is the key thing for me. Big up, Rob. This is what I've asked Matt all year. Look who we've got. We've got a star-studded lineup. We've got camouflage and everything going on.
Mr. Daigle.
I've asked this guy all year, right? All year, he told me we're winning everything, right? So I've said to him, "Oh yeah, come on and tell me why." No, I'll get abused. You won't get abused. Come on, talk to us. Tell us why. But he won't, right? And what happens is, any fan that was correct about what was going to happen at Tottenham is labelled as negative.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone that do you know what? Like, I'll say this person's name. So, for example, if you look at Flav from the Fighting Cock, and I've got nothing against Flav, by the way. I don't know him personally. We did one podcast together 4 or 5 years ago. I've got nothing against him. Seems like a really nice guy. But Flav went on to all these Talk Sports, all these big shows at the beginning of the year and said Tottenham will be in a title race, right? So when you make those big statements, right, you look silly when they don't come true. So he made that big statement, right? He's called a positive fan. I get it all the time. Why can't you be more like a Flav? Now, in my life, I don't know how you guys were brought up. I was brought up not to just chat shit, right? I was brought up not to just say nice things because it makes people feel warm and fuzzy. What people like Matt want is they want people like me to sing them a little lullaby at night to let them know that everything's going to be okay. Drift off to sleep nicely. It's going to be all right. But what he actually gets is the truth. What he actually gets is me sitting there all season saying, but by the way, Nick, I'll hold up my hands and say I was very wrong. I was very wrong. And do you know why I was very wrong? I predicted 7th, right? Look how positive I was. Look how positive I was for Tottenham Hotspur, 7th. So, Matt, if ever you want to come on, let us know why we're negative for being honest and being correct.
I'd also like to ask him what he means by Ange's success. What, the first 10 games? Is that what we deem as success? Because the other 28 after them weren't a success.
No, and 20 on this year.
First round in the FA Cup, first round in the Carabao Cup as well last year. So what success? I don't know.
Second round of the FA Cup, Nick.
Oh, sorry, second round,
round,
or whatever it is. Yeah.
We did beat somebody, didn't we?
10 games, right? Since that 10 games, he's played 28, 48. Since that beginning 10 games that people like Matt go to, he's played 55 league games. Do you guys know where we would be in the league table if you took those 55 games? And by the way, 55 games is a fucking big sample size. Do you know where we would be in the league?
About 12th, isn't it? 13th?
It's exactly 12.
Yeah, I was going to say, Lubo messaged me that.
Yeah, 12th. right?
Yeah.
So basically, you're going all of November, December, January, then a whole year, right? So then we're going what? So that's 12, 15 months. Now we're into March. So in 18 months, this manager has us 12th in the form table. And we've got people going, but just he needs another 10 games. We need another 10 games. Brian Daigle, you're a massive Ange fan. Talk to us. How are you?
Excuse me?
What?
Excuse me?
Sorry. Are you not Brian Daigle of the Ange In Club?
Do you know what? You do this every single time, and I've told you since the North London derby on January the 16th.
I know. I
Mate,
just love you so much.
I'm just waking up. I messaged you at 5:45 in the morning. As the Canadians say, I haven't had a sip of my coffee yet, so I'm still running on empty. No, listen, I can't defend him anymore. I haven't been able to say that he's going to be able to turn it around since that game. And like Nick said, I thought I stuck the longest as I could. I wanted it to be I really, really wanted this one to work. I really, really wanted to be the one we'd actually see a manager see the job through and get given the time. But there's absolutely no reason why he should be given more time.
To be honest, Brian, to be honest, Brian, I think we were all like that. To be honest, because we're fed up with the revolving door of managers, one in, one out every 18 months. Blah 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 blah. I want any manager that manages Tottenham to be successful. That's all I want. Is my club to win stuff. You know what I mean? I mean that's the reason that you play sport, is to win things, or try to win things. You know, but I was fed up with the revolving door managers that we had every year. You know, I mean, a lot of them didn't even last the season. You know, I think Ange was the first one since Pochettino wanted to actually do a whole season. I believe that's true. You know, so I mean, everyone was fed up with that. But when you've got the wrong guy in, and it's quite obvious after the first 10 games, it became obvious that Ange wasn't the man. I mean, you just want the club to do the right thing.
But look, he can salvage everything, right, by winning the Europa League. He can. And he's got Brian. He's got to. I just read my WhatsApp. Cheers, Wayne. Cheers for wasting my time. Just kidding, Wayne. Just kidding. I didn't know you were joking, so I sent you the link. But look, Brian, to salvage this season, he's got to win the Europa League, and that starts tonight.
Correct.
Mark is right. Whatever manager comes to Tottenham, we want them to do well. However, what I'm not a fool. I'm not somebody that sees somebody doing badly. Imagine, Brian, you've managed people in your jobs.
Correct.
Right? As much as you hire someone in your team, right? You want them to do well first couple of months, right? They start well and then they fade away. And then you've got review 1. All right, it's not going that great. We need you to do better. Review 2. Come on, you still haven't. After 3 or 4 reviews, you get to the stage where you go, hang on, this is not getting better. So why do we have fans, unfortunately, like this that think we've got an agenda against Ange? I don't have an agenda. I don't like bad football managers. Isn't that fair?
Yeah, you know, this is where we are right now as a team, as a football club. I don't understand. It's like Nick said, when you get new information coming, you process it, you deal with it, and you act accordingly. There's nothing to state or show that this guy has the capability of turning it around. There's nothing to show or state that if he was to stay in the summer and did go become our manager next season, that he would be backed to bring in the players that could make a huge impact within the first team. I don't mean signing youngsters. I mean impact for walk into the first team. Because if you look at it right now, we need about 4, 5, 6 minimum players to walk into that football team. Not add squad depth, not add potential to go, right, your first team place is gone. I'm stepping in. You need to come to my level. I don't think he'll be backed in that way. I don't think that he has any chance of success with this football club. The style of football, I don't think he can. I don't think if we look at it, the players that have come at this club, can you say he's really improved a multitude of players? Do they understand what he's trying to do? Do they get his message? Because if you do look at the football that everyone talks about, those first 10 games, I can't recall a solitary game of football since those 10 games where we played with such intensity, such speed, such purpose. So I just can't see, as much as I would love to see him get every single player he needs and wants of a high standard and be able to see what he can do, I don't trust the ownership. I don't trust the manager. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at. I don't accept, like you said, 13th in the league. And it's like I said to you, Savva, I'll explain myself just very quickly. You know, when we were discussing, and I typed in that I don't care about who plays in the Premier League, I don't care about that City result. And you were like, but, and I agree with you. I'd rather see the youth play in all the rest of the Premier League games. But when we said we have an outside chance of Europe if we're beating Man City, after the international break, we got Chelsea away. We all know what's going to happen. Then we've got Southampton, which we should win. And I'm delighted to say I will be at that Change for Tottenham protest because I've been able to change my incoming ticket. So I will be there to lend my support. Then we go away to Wolves, who did the double on us last season and drew with us this season.
Yeah.
Then we're home to Nottingham Forest, high-flying Nottingham Forest. And then to wrap up that month, just so we can make that push for Europe, we're away at Anfield.
Yeah. A tough
so,
4 wins in 108 years. 3 wins in 108 years, isn't it?
So I just can't see that when you were saying, I understand the outside chance of Europe, but we'd need every single team to lose, us to win, and I can't see us winning a multitude of those games with whatever team.
I agree, but listen, Brian, but I've been told that the only reason we weren't fighting for everything was because the players were injured. I've been told it's nothing to do with tactics. I've been told it's nothing to do with setup. It's nothing to do with Ange. I've been told it's only injuries. Those players are back now, and I'm not going to have the excuse that Kulusevski's injured because he's done the square root of nothing in 2025 anyway. So, I mean, but look, let's try and get some positive because, as I said, people who go, "Oh, we're just going to," like, I'll be honest, I'm really disappointed with Jose on El Tel saying, "Are we just going to bash them before the game?" Not bashing them. I said we're going to win 3-1, and automatically all the Ange fans started telling me off saying I'm being ridiculous. I'm going
to do what every single Tottenham fan does, and I'm going to blame Arsenal fans for this. This Tottenham fans are so desperate to be Arsenal fan light. Mikel Arteta has ruined football. He has ruined football because now people in the chat, you've got to give a manager 5 years. No. If he's doing crap, the average tenure of a Premier League manager, not a Tottenham manager, an average tenure of a Premier League manager is 18 months. If there is no improvement and you're 13th playing the highest prices, playing boring football, you should bloody go. It's unacceptable. I don't understand why these Tottenham fans are so desperate to cosplay Arsenal, top gooners, as they like to call themselves over there. It's embarrassing. Look at where we are in the league. And I've got Ange fans telling us, look at this style of football. Isn't it brilliant? No. It's one of the worst styles of football I've ever seen. Yeah. And I was never Conte out. And it's not revisionism. I never wanted Conte out. Me and Savva argued about this all the time back in the day. It seems like back in the day now.
Yeah, a long time ago.
The first 6 months of Conte was far better football than we're seeing now. Far better football. Far better football. And yes, it was terrible at the end of Conte's reign. And I'm not gonna paper over the cracks. But it was still more cohesive, and we were still 4th in the league. We were never 14th. We were never getting injuries like this nonsense. And then, blaming it on the injuries, blaming on the injuries. When he's had the chance to rotate the players, he hasn't done it. He had a James Maddison. Yes, he wasn't playing brilliantly, but he was constantly playing Kulusevski 100 minutes, 90 minutes, 90 minutes, 90 minutes, and scapegoating James Maddison, saying, oh, he's the problem of the team. James Maddison's still our highest goal contributor in the team, and he's blaming him. KDL all the way. Where's Phil P when you need him? Last 6 games, Dejan Kulusevski, because he's exhausted, because he's playing every single minute of every single game, he's been shocking. He's been beyond shocking.
Well, I agree. Let me ask Nick. Nick, I want to bring you in here. I love my mate Matt. I really wish he would come on. I feel like we'd be a really good double act. I feel like he'd be brilliant. He's asked a question to the panel, and I'm going to let you answer this, Nick, because you know my answer. It's a question for the panel. Are you willing to give a manager 3 to 5 years to fully build? 3 to 5 years. If not, then you're part of the problem.
I'd like to answer this after Nick.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I'd like to give this a go as well.
So first of all,
I want a counter question before Nick. Which manager gets 3 to 5 years? How many managers get 3 to 5 years to fully build their team? Which ones? Which ones? Go on, Nick.
So let's just. I'm trying to put this in the right way before I almost go crazy. Iraola, Graham Potter, Arne Slot, they're building something, and they don't need 3 to 5 years. This manager is, if we're going down this Arsenal narrative that everyone's twerking for, we're going to get to the 3 or 5 years. He's going to have spent 800 million, and we're going to be no further forward. We are not progressing in this league. We are not improving. Players are going backwards. And to say that if people aren't willing to give a manager this 3 to 5 years, they're part of the problem, then you're pretty much talking about every single football fan in the Premier League, because no football fan in the Premier League would expect 3 to 5 years for their manager to fully build. We don't even know what we're building for. The only thing we know that we're building in 3 to 5 years is this hotel. And I guarantee you that'll be built quicker than 3 to 5 years. That's the only thing that we're building.
These two, Nick?
And Nuno as well, yeah.
Nuno, Iraola, Silva.
Yeah.
Why have these people haven't needed
Emery.
3 to 5 years to be above us?
Emery from relegation, Villa were in relegation. Eddie Howe for Newcastle, they were in relegation, and he took them to the Champions League. I mean, we could go on, Matt. We could really go on and embarrass you even more.
You're absolutely right, Nick. If you're saying if you're part of the problem if you don't give a manager 3 to 5 years, you're talking about every football fan, not just in the Premier League, globally. You're talking about every football fan in the world, beside the top gunners that expect, oh, it's a process, it's a phase. What phase are we on? What phase are Tottenham on? That's a question. What phase are Tottenham in? I think we're
regression.
Phase minus 176,402.
I'll get the simple answer to this is, if Matt can tell me, or any fan can tell me, a top 6 team that has aspirations by the fans, especially the board, to qualify for the Champions League minimum and Europa League as an okay. Tell me the last Big 6 team with big aspirations that have seen their team slip down to the bottom half of the table and not winning and bringing a trophy, and have said, yeah, do you know what, mate? That's exactly what we're looking for. We'll give you another try. Find me another team that wants to aim for the Big 6. Chelsea come in. If you don't get Champions League, you're sacked. We'll give you hundreds of millions of pounds. We'll get you every player you want. But if you don't get what our target is, you're gone. You look at Arsenal. They don't accept it. Manchester United, they've already sacked their manager and are finishing lower or potentially lower than us. There's no team in the Big 6 that would accept this turnaround in football. And where I will also say it's not 100% on Ange is you look at what he's been brought in. What we're expecting as a club to finish in the big elite players with the big elite places that guarantee European football and more income coming in, and we don't buy for Europe. We don't pay for Europe. There is not a club in any European league where, if your aim is to get into the top 4 and possibly potentially win a trophy, and you finish in the bottom half of the table with what are we on, Savva, at the moment? 14 losses this season.
Just
in the league.
Just the 14.
Just the 14. And a team would turn around and say, do you know what? Yeah, you deserve a third year. I can see what you did. Not one club in Europe that has European aspirations that have had such a big drop off will go, do you know what? Let's give you more time. It just won't happen.
Right.
It's business. It's a results-based business, and the results are crap.
Just let me have a little go now. Right. Now, he's been here, what, 18 months now? 18 months he's been here. Since he started, right? Now, if we were building something, surely we could see it going that way.
Yeah.
Instead of doing that way.
Exactly.
We are regressing. We're not getting better. We're not building anything. As Nick said, the bloody hotel is going to be built before the football team. Because that is all the club is interested in doing, is making money.
Well, can I...
Now, when Pochettino turned up, I know he's my friend, he's my favourite, but when Pochettino turned up, yes, he had the first 6 dodgy months, but then, the progression was there to be seen. We were getting better every year. We're getting worse every year under this clown. You know, I mean, and I backed him. I back any manager that comes in. But
I just want to quickly add, sorry, mate, because now Matt's added Eddie Howe and said Eddie Howe's been given time. So Eddie Howe took off over Newcastle, over brand new ownerships when they were in relegation. In the 4 years he's been there, he's got them to 2 cup finals, a Champions League qualification.
Yeah, like that, Brian.
And is pushing for Champions League again. And is in another final. So that's in the 4 years Newcastle have been there, the new owners, 2 finals, 1 top 4 finish, pushing for top 4 again now. That's progression.
I'll tell you what.
Progression.
Look, for me, I think this is all very, very simple, right? Yes, every manager in the world, I agree, deserves 3 to 5 years. I agree.
If you see progression.
If you see progression. If you see what you are building. Now, let's have a look at the league table, right? Because this nonsense about every manager, right? Let's have a look at the Premier League table, okay? So if we look at the Premier League table from 1st to 11th, yeah,
we're not even on there.
Arne Slot has joined this year, right? Mikel Arteta is the one manager now. Half the Arsenal fan base want him out because he is the one manager in that list. If I'm not wrong, somebody will tell me in a minute. Other than Thomas Frank, he is the one manager in that list that has been at his club for 5 years. Yeah. And the Arsenal fans want him out because after that 5 years, he's not won anything. He won the FA Cup with Emery's squad. With his own squad, he can't win. Nuno, Nottingham Forest. He's been there the exact same amount of time, I believe, as Angepostecoglou. Look at them compared to us. Man City, don't need to talk about Man City. They've won everything in the world in the last 8 years. Chelsea, their manager has been there since this summer and is already under pressure from Chelsea fans. Their manager is, look at him. He's 2 points off third and is under pressure. He's been at the club for less than 9 months. Newcastle United have had Eddie Howe for this is his 4th season. Year 1, he got them safe from relegation. They were odds on to get relegated when he took over. He saved them from relegation. Year 2 got them to a cup final and Champions League qualification, right? Year 3 finished 7th, whatever. This year, they're in another cup final and they're 2 or 3 points off qualifying for the Champions League. Bournemouth, their manager's been there exact same amount of time as our manager. He didn't need 3 to 5 years. Brighton, their manager has been there since the summer and is about 15 years of age, isn't he? I don't think he's even old enough to drink, their manager, right? Fulham, right? Their manager's not been there 5 years. Unai Emery has been there. This is his 3rd. He's been there 2.5 years. And look at Aston Villa. They've just done that, right? They're about to qualify for the quarterfinals of the Champions League, right? They are, 4 points off Champions League this season in the league. They're in the FA Cup. They're basically through to the quarterfinals of the Champions League.
First time since the 1980s, early 80s.
They're the second favourites for the FA Cup. Brentford, Brentford 5-6 seasons ago were a tiny little club that should never have got promoted. Now they're above us, right? So no. So now you look at this. Look around us, right? Crystal Palace. Their manager's been there, what, a year? Didn't he take over about this time last year? Or he's been there a year and 2 months, whatever?
Yep.
Man United's manager, he's had 3 months. West Ham's manager's been there 3 months. Everton's manager's been there 2-3 months. Wolves manager's been there 3 months. Ipswich manager just done that. So he's been there for years. Leicester City's manager's been there for about 6 months, 4 months, whatever. Southampton's manager's been there 3 months. So all of this nonsense, sorry about the long-windedness, guys, but all of this 3 to 5 years bollocks is absolutely that. Football teams do not keep shit managers if they do not do well. It is that simple. Sorry, rant over. Sorry.
I don't think anyone in any job keeps a manager if they're not doing a good job in any industry.
But of course not.
In any industry, if you're doing a crap job over 18 months, you get you're slung to the curb and they get another person in. It's in any industry. You don't get 3 to 5 years.
No. Well, in most jobs you start. In most jobs you start.
To you, Matt. This isn't true.
In my industry, you only really last 8 weeks before you change your job. Yeah. Everyone changes every week.
In every job I've ever done, when you first start somewhere, you're on 12-week probation. You know, you got to prove yourself in 12 weeks to get rid of you.
So, by the way, guys, so there's 2 managers in the Premier League, if I'm right, that have done 5 years plus. And if I'm not wrong, that is Thomas Frank at Brentford and Mikel Arteta at Arsenal. Silva's done...
And Pep.
Oh, yeah, I always remove Pep. I just remove Pep because that's just a different...
He's different.
Field, right? But other than Pep, Thomas Frank and Arteta, no one else has been at their club more than 4 years. No one.
Even if Pep Guardiola was doing crap for 18 months, they would still sack him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a results business. It didn't take 3 to 5 years for Pep Guardiola to build. Yes, they had a wobbly start in their first season but then win.
I genuinely think he's trolling me.
Can't win.
No,
can't win.
No.
I genuinely think that this. Honestly, Matt, I'm gonna say it with all due respect. You do sound very young. Like I genuinely believe it. You've said to me that all managers need 3 to 5 years, and I've just shown you that hardly any managers get 3 to 5. Do you know managers at Real Madrid and Barcelona get sacked for winning the league?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The white flags are out, aren't they? The white hankies.
All right, Matt. New managers. Forget new managers. Nuno and Iriola, the same time as Ange. Look at where they are compared to where Ange is. You have no argument, my friend. They are above us. They have They both have worse squads. Yeah, Glasner. They have worse squads than us, right? And they're above us. And Matt, this is nonsense, mate. Because you can't believing what you're saying. Genuinely.
And has Nuno and the other guy you said had all the money that Ange has had?
No, because
definitely not.
Because they didn't strengthen in January so that they could push on for the top 4.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not.
I'd like one of you to take a stab at this, right? And again, this is, and we'll move on to after this comment. We are going to move on to. I am going to move on to tonight's game. But what I find staggering is it's not just Matt who's a child. This is a grown man saying, if you think you can get sex, if you think you can get sex in 18 months, you're dreaming. Yeah, probably. If you can get bonus. What a slip. Let me start that again. If you think you can get success in 18 months, you're dreaming. Surely, guys, no one's asking for success. I'm just asking not to be wide open every single game. I'm asking not to be 13th in the table, not to lose 14 games in a year. If we were sitting 5th or 6th right now in the table, jockeying with, again, let me bring that table up, right? If we were sitting 5th and 6th right now in the table, jockeying with, where are we? No, that's the bottom. God, let's go to the bottom for Spurs, don't you? If we were 5th or 6th right now, guys, and we were jockeying with Chelsea, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Brighton for our Champions League spot, we'd all be pretty happy, wouldn't we?
Yeah, of course we would. Well, the first show that we ever did on our channel, me and Cookmaster, we went through the Premier League table, and me and him agreed we were sort of 6th, 7th, that area, but a lot of managers like Nuno overachieve. You know what? Why shouldn't we be up there? Why shouldn't we be up there competing for top 4? There's 2 reasons, but one of the reasons certainly is Ange.
Yeah, but look, Matt, context. Okay, context again. Bournemouth have had more injuries than us. What nonsense are you talking? They have had more injuries than us. They have a worse squad than us. The manager's been the same time as Angepostecoglou has been with us. And look where we are. So come on, man. What are we doing here? Seriously, stop. Matt?
No, it's dreadful, Nick. It's dreadful. Like, Bournemouth's entire ground is less than our South Stand. And this is the finance that club is run on.
Do you know what I don't get with all of this, guys? We'll move on to tonight's game. Welcome, Danny. What I don't get is why I'm not even. Let's strip all of this nonsense back. Let's strip it all away. Why can everyone not just see how badly set up we are as a football team? Forget the wins, forget the losses, forget the league table, forget winning trophies, forget how long he's been here. How can anyone not see how badly set up we are game after game after game? That should be the starting point for a manager, shouldn't it? Get your team organised.
Yeah. Mate, hello everyone, by the way.
Big up, Dan, bro.
Pop on and say hello before go up the hospital and sort some stuff out. Right. Matt, seriously, mate, I've asked you questions on the side. People have asked you questions. I'll ask this panel now. Give me 5 serious positives since Ange has been at this club. Not positives that were good for a week or 2 or a month or 2. Positives that stand out now since Ange has been at this club. You give me 5, I will give you a minimum of 10 negatives, solid negatives, since he's been at this club. Yes, it all looked sweet. We looked like there was some progression there. And you could say we finished 5th. There was progression there. And now look at where we've gone. Those first 10 games covered his backside more than people realised. And I warned a lot of people at the start of this season, he ain't going to have them 10 games to cover him. It's not going to happen. Managers don't get in jobs. Businesses, you have to sell up. You have to do your stuff. Otherwise, you get the sack. They ain't going to wait for you for 5-6 years if there's no progression. We are not making progression. We are going backwards. There's this saying in the world now, and this is how you're coming across to me. Go woke, go broke. There you go, mate. When you're too nice, you lose everything.
Yeah.
Give me 5 positives.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what you meant, Lee. Ian, will I show it? I don't know what you mean. Look, guys, tonight, I've said we're going to batter AZ Alkmaar 3-1. That was wrong, apparently, called to the Ange fans. That was wrong. Is anyone worried? It was too positive tonight. Oh, Ben, give it a rest. Learn the line. Anyone else think we're going to win comfortably there tonight?
Should do.
3-1.
We certainly should do, but I will say their ground is a naughty little ground. If people remember the West Ham game there, it's an intimidating place. It will be a very, very hostile atmosphere. All the players that we think, obviously minus Kulusevski, should be making an appearance. I hope he doesn't make the same mistake and start straight away with Romero and VDV, because we know what could happen. I think Danso is good enough. I wouldn't mind seeing one of them from the start and then another one on the bench to manage their minutes. If we've got the strongest team we can put out, we should be able to get the job done without an issue. And I hope that is the case.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I think Romero. I think Romero comes straight back in. I think Solanke comes straight back in. and Spence probably gets dropped because this is Ange, right?
Romero comes straight back in and immediately pulls his other hamstring because his body's not fit enough yet.
Well, the only benefit of that
Argentina's on around the
this
corner.
is Argentina, right? So that's one thing. But
Yeah, that's it.
Your body doesn't care if you're playing for Argentina, Nick. If your body goes, your body goes.
I know,
at the end
It
of the
doesn't
day.
for Romero's.
we all saw what happened with Spence against City and everything, and Kulu being dropped and everything else, right? Against nothing would surprise me tonight with this team, but we should have enough to beat them. I think it's good. I don't think we're going to score 3. I think it'll be closer than that, but I think we'll just get the win 2-1.
I think we'll get this 3-1. I think we got enough up there. Johnson can be enough pain in the backside to just tap it in the side of the net. He can do it. It's the only thing he can do, but we know he can do it. I think we got a much better midfield than them. And even I think we got more stability in defence than them. But if Ange goes out and starts either Romero or Van der Ven, which I don't think Van der Ven's on the list, but even starts Romero, then it just blatantly shows how a man just does not learn from his mistakes. Romero will not be 100% fit. Not a chance in hell. Okay, he might be physically fit, but he's definitely not game fit. If you brought him on for 20 minutes to go or something, that would make sense. But then why would you bring a defender on just for 20 minutes at the start? That don't make sense to me. He's got to go with Danzo and Archie Gray. They've been playing together for the past 5-6 games, whatever. Gray's done respectable. Yes, I'd rather have a defender there properly. But Romero's not ready yet. And if Romero comes out and then busts himself again, it will just show how inadequate this manager is and what a simple clue he has not got about football. I mean, what do? You make a mistake. We all make mistakes. You can make that mistake again, but then the third time you're meant to learn from it, and the third time you're just an idiot and it's your fault, right? He should not be starting Romero in that game. Never in a million years. And if you don't start Spence, then I totally give up.
Does anyone think he will start Romero tonight?
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me.
He should not. He should.
I don't think he will, to be honest. I think he'll bring him on towards the closing stages of the game, but I don't think he'll start him.
I don't understand. The thing that's getting me is I don't understand why so many people think Spence won't start. I think he absolutely 1 billion% will start this game.
I agree with you.
I hope so.
I agree with you.
If Spence doesn't start, he should be sacked for gross incompetence.
Look, he's our best player. You brought him into the Europa League for obvious reasons. You didn't start him against Manchester City. I don't think there's any chance whatsoever that Spence does not either start. It's whether he starts on the right with Destiny on the left or on the left with Porro at the right. I think without a shadow of a doubt, Spence 100 million% starts. No doubt about it. If he doesn't, anything that comes his way, because I've been after the Man City game, I went on We Are Tottenham TV and other streams. I spoke with you, Savva, and I said, I wasn't bothered that Spence was dropped. I was like, I'd rather make sure he doesn't get an injury during the game and he's available. And I think 100%, no doubt about it, Jez Spence starts for Tottenham tonight.
Brian,
what is this new thing in 2025 where we're worried about every single time a player plays football, but what if they get injured? What if they get injured? Why?
Why in 2025? Have you seen what's happened to us this season? The guy could walk onto the pitch, do his little warm-ups before coming off the bench and get injured at Spurs this season.
But Brian, if that was the case, do you know where I think this theory is flawed, in my opinion? If we were resting him so that he didn't get injured, why on earth did he then come on?
That part, I'm completely, totally. That part, I completely, totally, and utterly agree with you. We were getting overrun, or Doku was having a field day. So, like I said, that result meant nothing to me because I've said this before. I don't see us getting Europe in the league. Yeah, I would have rather he'd had 90 minutes off. I didn't care if it got worse against City because weren't going to get better. I want him available to start every single Europa League game, every single one that we've still got. So with that part about him coming on, I completely agree with you. Completely, totally, and utterly agree with you. But I just didn't. For me, I think it was a clear sign that Ange does want to make sure he is available for Europa League, because I think he knows it's Europa League or bust.
I do feel like we're going on like he's Gareth Bale or Harry Kane.
No,
or something. The way we're talking about wrapping up Jed Spence in cotton wool for 8 days.
Mate, you look at it, mate. You've got to look at it this way. With Porro at the moment, he's getting caught out all the bloody time. All the bloody time.
I agree.
Mate, if this had been any other season and the injuries weren't as bad as they were, you got to remember, back in the Pochettino day, when we had Trippier and Walker and Rose and Davies, you were happy with whatever combination you saw. If he rested Walker for a game,
the seeds have been sown, haven't they?
If he'd rested Walker for a game or rested Rose and you saw one or the other, well, okay, fine. No problem at all. He's rested him for that game or he wants to rotate to keep it fresh. Mm-hmm. There's no drama because of the quality in it, because there was such good quality. But now we are so poor.
Agreed.
So that's am I saying I completely understand? I agree. 9 games, he shouldn't be tired. He shouldn't be this. He shouldn't be that. But the way our injuries have gone this season, the only thing we've got left to salvage anything from this season is winning the Europa League. That's it.
I get the feeling, though, that even if he plays him tonight, I don't think he will play instead of Porro.
Then
that's just my opinion. I think he'll play him above Udogie. By the way, I think he's superior to both Porro and Udogie from a defensive standpoint.
Yeah, I agree.
I will say
actually, and as a footballer.
I will say as well, I think from what we've seen, I think Spence looked better on the right with Destiny. I know it was only Ipswich, but for the brief time we saw that, I think they looked better than when we've had Spence on the left and Porro on the right.
Well, the problem is
a very small
Porro just can't defend. This is the problem. Porro is not wired to defend. He's not.
He's a wing back.
He's a wing back, isn't he? And whilst I don't rate Udogie, by the way, I know a lot of people give me stick for this, Brian, but I don't actually think Udogie's a good defender either.
He's a wing back.
I feel for both of them because they're both being criminally played out of position, and they're both being asked to not only play fullback when they're not fullbacks, but they're then being asked to kind of do this constantly up the pitch and recovering system. I've got a feeling. What do you guys think? I think it will be Spence and Udogie. I think. Sorry, Spence and Porro. I think Porro will be right. Spence will be left.
I think it'll be the other way around.
It's really weird, isn't it, Savva? Because if you look at it from a 4 at the back standpoint, Porro looks more like a centre midfielder than he does a right back, because he's good at passing the ball, he's quick, and he can cross a ball.
Yeah,
he can't defend, so he looks more like a box to box midfielder. But he's not a box to box midfielder. He's not a right back.
He's a wing back.
He is a catered right wing back in a 3 at the back, 5 in midfield system. That's what he's been good at. That's what he played that system for Ruben Amorim for Sporting Club de Portugal.
Well, let's face it, we bought him for Conte.
Such a different thing. They did bought him. They bought him for Conte originally. Yeah. But it doesn't matter if you're good enough. You can play in any system. But unfortunately, football has now shifted to system-based play. So if you're not in a system that doesn't suit you, you look like an idiot. Højbjerg played for 2 of the best managers in Premier League history, in Conte and Mourinho. Ange couldn't stand him, got him out, couldn't get him out quick enough. So unfortunately, footballers are not like they were in the 80s and the 90s and early noughties, where you just like, all right, I play in that position, I can do it. You have to be, this is what you have to do now. And this is why I hate modern football. I hate system-based football. Footballers should be able to play everywhere, but this is not the way football is now. This is not how football is. You've got to play in exactly. Yes, Angus, Conte, he's won the league more than you have in the last 20 years.
I haven't even seen the comment. I'm guessing it's something silly.
I said because Conte's one of the best managers in the league history. Yes, he's won the league, hasn't he?
Sorry, listen,
Angus,
as I said, you've got Tottenham fans and you've got Ange fans. There's a huge. Some people are both. Matt, unfortunately, is an Ange fan.
I'm not talking about Matt. I'm talking about Angus, my buddy Angus. I'll happily call Angus out because he's my buddy.
Yeet.
Yeah, look. I get it, right? I've seen Brian doing the rounds, giving his whole theory on Jed Spence and stuff. Don't you worry, Brian. I've been watching.
It's not even my theory. Like I said, I don't. Like I said to you, I don't care in the Premier League. I said to you, and I said it to you when I was in the chat, said it to you on the WhatsApp. I say, I don't care against Bournemouth if he starts Fraser Foster and Brandon Austin at left and right wing. I don't care. I don't care. I would like to see, like you said, the youngsters play in the Premier League and get given the time. Like I completely agree with everything you were saying the other day about giving the youth proper time for the rest of the season. I'd be all up for that and putting all the eggs in the Europa basket. This is like you said, Savva. You have your very strong opinions. I respect them. We disagree times. Sure. I have my very strong opinion that, like I said, when you were going, if we beat Man City, we'd only be a few points off Europa. I get that, but we weren't going to get it because of the fixtures coming up.
Sure, but winning breeds confidence. Well, winning breeds confidence. For me, when you're at home to an out of sorts Man City, what he did was just ridiculous when there's 8 days to go. I would agree with your theory had there have not been an 8-day break. If it had been, we're playing Man City Wednesday and then again on Sunday, I'm cool with it. But when there's an 8-day gap and Jed Spence is in great form, players, we've got to remember as well, if you go to Premier League clubs, go to sports clubs, they'll tell you when players are playing well, they don't want to be rested. When players are playing well, they want to continue playing. They're in a good moment. So now not having played him for 8 games, if he comes in and as a stinker tonight, you just don't know. I just feel making a decision 8 days prior to a game against AZ Alkmaar, by the way. It's not like we're not going to Athletic Bilbao.
But
we beat Alkmaar this year as well. We should be able to beat them again, surely. We beat them this year.
Let me just flip that on you, Savva, because as you just said, if he comes on and has a stinker tonight, obviously it's why did he rest him or whatever you want to, whatever phrase you rest, rotate, drop. But if he comes on tonight and starts tonight as a blinder, which he could do the way he has been playing, then everyone's got to say well done.
No, because he was having blinders anyway. But
that's what you can't say if he comes on and has a stinker. Oh, why did you drop him? But then if he has rested him or whatever, you can't.
I can because this is a player that was in form. So if he has a blinder tonight, yes, because he's in form. But why drop the player and take out that consistency in his? It was just a really weird. It was a weird move. It was just a weird move with 8 days rest. It just didn't seem right to me.
Listen, I can understand that. Obviously, this is something you and me can't agree on. Yeah, but we're not going to make a big deal of it and everything. It's just the way that you're taking it, the way I'm seeing it, but the way we're both seeing it, and I can kind of understand some of where you're coming from. I have literally just been like, it is Europa League or bust, and as long as he's got his ideal 11, the available ideal 11 that are fit and ready to go for that game, regardless, then I'm fine with it.
But look at this as a question, guys, right? Okay. Because and I'll tell you why, right? I'll tell you why. And we don't have to agree on everything, Brian. Don't worry, I still love you. I'm still going to love you
too, brother. Savalicious, come on.
At the end of this conversation, we'll agree I'm right, and we're still going to be in love with each other. So it's all good.
All right, mate. All right, buddy.
Do you remember, right? Do you remember I heard all of this about the Galatasaray game? I heard all of this about Galatasaray, where he made 7 or 8 changes, and everyone went, yeah, but it's because we got Ipswich, and that's a must-win game, and we're going to beat it, right? We rested players against Galatasaray, lost, then lost at home to Ipswich. And I just think sometimes I get it. If you're talking about Kulusevski, who's injured now, sure, rest him. But when you're talking about Jed Spence, he's a fit athlete. Look at him. He's fit. He gets up and down that pitch. He's not played a lot of football, and we're going, this is the guy that we must rest for Man City to play against their wingers.
He's not really done much to get tired, has he? Jed Spence. He's only played a dozen games.
This manager gets more free hits than I've seen any other. They were saying that Man City was a free hit last week. How many free hits does this manager get?
Every game's a free hit.
Yeah. Every game's a free hit. No, but then last season, people were saying, "Oh, we should want to beat Man City, even if Arsenal win the league." But why was that? Why was that not a free hit? But Man City this year, when we're 13th and we need to try and get closer to European quality, why is that a free hit?
The only way Ange stays at this club is if he wins a trophy, wins this Europa League. That's the only way that I'll accept.
I don't believe that.
Do you not think so?
I'd have had him out 18 months ago, but I don't believe that. I still feel that he's got look at the backing he's got from these blind fans that just go, Ange, give him time, give him time. I don't think he'll sack him. I genuinely don't think he'll sack him, even if we finish bottom half and no trophies. I don't think he's going to sack him.
As you said earlier, Savva, in Spain, managers get sacked for winning the league. You know, the hankies come out and they start waving them. You know, I know the standards are different at Barcelona and Real Madrid, but for goodness sakes, isn't it? All right, yes, it'll be brilliant if we win the Europa League, UEFA Cup, whatever you want to call it. But to be 13th, 14th in the league, is that acceptable? Is that really why we moved into a £1 billion stadium? You know? No, in my eyes. You know, we were promised when we moved into this stadium that it was going to take us to the next level to get us competing. Just another lie, to be honest.
If you guys don't care about the league, I've never said I don't care about the league.
No.
I've never said I'm embarrassed where we are in the league. I feel like we should be winning games, even if we don't qualify for Europe via the league. It's embarrassing. We are 13th in the Premier League table after moving into the best stadium in the world. We've got one of the highest revenues in world football. This manager's had nearly £400 million to spend. We can all argue whether it's 350 or 400 million. He's had 16 to 17 new players, right? He's got all these brilliant youth players that I keep being told every single day are amazing. Tottenham Hotspur should be doing better in the league. I'll ask everyone one by one. At the moment, we've got 14 defeats. I think we're probably going to end on 18 or 19 defeats across this season, just from looking at the games we've got left, right? If he finishes on 18/19 defeats out of 38 games, right, which will leave us bottom half and no trophy, does he go? Does he get the sack immediately if that happens?
I'll just answer this very, very quickly on one thing. I can't remember a manager in Premier League history that if he's lost 19 games, that's half a season. I can't think of a single Premier League manager in the entire Premier League tenure that has lost 19 games and kept his job.
Can I say...
Spurs or any club, was that? Sorry.
Any club.
Can I just say it may have been...
one second about 19 defeats normally would mean relegation, I think.
Yeah.
I think that would mean literally, but because we've got a lot more wins than we have draws, I can't think of a single manager that would have lost 50% of his games that has kept their job in the Premier League.
I reckon you might find it might be one of the promoted sides from the Championship that have survived, you know, just about sort of fourth from bottom, and they've survived and they've lost that many games. But they're just...
Okay, there are a couple.
They have different expectations.
Of course they do. Of course they do. But yeah, of course they do. Of course they do.
Steve Bruce and Sean Dyche. That's the level now.
Yeah.
They've kept their jobs.
Yeah.
You know the last time we lost 18 games? Anyone know that? Like, let me just ask, right? Does everyone think we will lose at least 4 more league games? Chelsea away, Wolves away, Liverpool away. We've got Bournemouth, we've got Fulham, we've got West Ham, Brighton, Forest. Does anyone think we will? If I conservatively say we're going to lose 4 of the next 11, is that fair? I'm not being harsh. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does anyone know the last time we lost 18 games?
2004. 2004, wasn't it?
18 games. Right. Let's have a look. So in 2003, 2004, we lost 19 games of football and finished 14th. Right.
Yeah.
Before that, you have to go back to 96, 97. Right. When we finished mid-table, believe it or not, somehow, with 18 defeats. This is what fans are saying. Give him another year. 18 defeats. Even I know that's not guaranteed. Even if we lose 16 games this season, it is fucking diabolical.
Well, you got to remember as well that it's only the last 20 years that it's been 38 game season. You know, before it was like there was 24 teams in the league. It was 46 games, and then there was 22 teams, so it was 42, whatever it was. You know, it's not forever that it's only been 20 teams in the Premier League. And so you got to remember when we got relegated in 77, there was 24 teams in the first division. So we played 46 game seasons. And we probably still, well, we probably lost 20 of them, I bet, or 20 something. But there was 24 teams in the league. You know, so, I mean, if you lose half the games in a season, especially a club allegedly our size, it's a joke. It's a joke. It's an absolute disgrace.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
Oh no! Here he is.
Just
Oh,
quickly,
no.
Matt. Stop, dude. Stop. If you're gonna, dude, stop, Matt.
Oh my
Even
God,
if
look
we
at
win
this.
the Europa League, if we finish bottom half with 18, 19 defeats, and you say, would I still want the manager sacked? Yes. You can't lose half your league games.
No.
You can't lose half your league games because, let's be fair, so far he's had a very easy run to where we are in the Europa. So far, Tottenham have who have we beaten? Karabag, Elfsborg,
Ferencvaros.
Ferencvaros,
Hoffenheim.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Hoffenheim. There's one more, isn't there?
Rangers. We played Rangers and drew.
We drew to Rangers.
Yeah, we drew.
Roma was a draw. No?
Draw.
We drew with Roma. We lost to Galatasaray and we drew with Rangers. We won the others, didn't we? So we beat we beat Ferencvaros,
Karabag.
Karabag, Alkmaar,
Hoffenheim.
Elfsborg, and Hoffenheim.
Hoffenheim.
Look, so far, yeah, Matt. And if you think, and now we've got Alkmaar. After that, we could have again 2 teams we should be beating. You think if we win the Europa League and lose 19 league games that I shouldn't want the manager sacked? Sorry, it's not how I'm. That's
Can
not how
Can I just say, Andrew's been nominated for Manager of the Month for February.
How?
Because he's won 3 out of 4 games. That's why.
Oh my God. Oh God, we're embarrassing, aren't we?
Glasner, Moyes, Silva, Slot, Postecoglou.
You imagine if he wins it, Sav? You'll be well and truly in the
Arnie
mud.
Slot will win it.
Just what are we? What are we doing? What are we doing? Alex. Hello.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, welcome. Hi, everybody. Yeah, it's good to be back. Danny's trying to steal my thunder as well, by the way. Yeah, big up to everybody in the chat. Not Nick. How's Emerson Morale doing these days, mate, Nick?
He's injured, Alex.
Anyway.
He's also got a trophy, yeah?
Oh, yeah, great, because it was an afterthought. Anyway, moving on. Back to the football. Back to the actual football I want to talk about. Yeah, I just want to say something. I have to say this, Savva. I don't agree with you about him winning the Europa League. You know, yeah, you did correct me last time saying that, he'll be successful and don't get used to it. By the way, me saying that you were right about that. But you know, I do agree he's successful. We celebrate, but we still have to have a conversation because they still have the same scenario next season when we have 2 games a week in the Champions League.
Was that aimed at me?
Yes, I'm just saying.
What did I just say? What did I just say for the 2 minutes before you came on?
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm not trying to rattle you, mate. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? It's like, come on now, bro. You know what I mean? I've got, I can disagree with one thing. You know what I mean? You know, because I've given you credit for a lot of things these days. You know what I mean? So take it at what you will. But I'm just saying that that we still have to have a conversation because next season with the Champions League, right? We're still going to have the same excuses saying, oh, he's got 2 games a week. We're not going to be able to train. Well, that's the standard for a top six club. Every top 6 club have to deal with this. So, for me, I will be wrong. I will hold my hands up and say he's won a trophy. He's been best successful manager the last 2 decades. I'll hold my hands up and say I was wrong. You've proved me wrong, right? I will celebrate. I will celebrate with everybody who's Angeing. You know what I mean? Say, yeah, here's your moment to shine and celebrate and have us in the mud. That's great, okay. But still scenarios are going to have in next season. Back onto what I need to talk about, the Alkmaar game. Now, I've just looked at some of the games of Alkmaar, the highlights of the game. We should be beating Alkmaar. They're like a bang average version of us, to be honest with you, if I'm really honest with you, because I look at them and attacking wise, they don't really score that many goals, even though they get chances. But defensively, they're terrible. They're absolutely awful. I see teams just running through them easily. So I think we should be. I think we got to be beating them today, Savva.
Are you talking about Alkmaar or us?
Alkmaar.
Oh, right. I was going to say you could just as easily be talking about us, mate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're the below average version of us.
Yeah,
they're the below average version of us. Because I've watched some of their games. I'm like, wow. You know what I mean? And it just shows you, because I was having a conversation yesterday, a very interesting conversation with a Newcastle fan. Obviously on the one podcast called Spurs Kings TV. You know who it is, Asthmatic and Marlon. You should be subscribing. I'm speaking to a Newcastle
is this the
fan.
period where we have a 30-second Asthmatic loving?
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
Asthmatic.
It's a little plug.
Best,
A little
Ash
plug. A little plug.
Yeah,
You know, your little plug.
Oh,
You have to
love
give a
you,
little
Ash.
plug.
Love you,
Yeah.
Ash.
What is it used to say? Asthmatic's guilty pleasure.
Yeah. Oh well. You know, let me just get back to the football, because I want to try and help Savva with the algorithm. You know what I mean? To keep it going so it can get bigger. The point is though, is that he said that the Europa League, our Premier League, is actually very superior to any other league because we showed a lot of quality. Right, and it's proven the fact that Tottenham and Man United have got through to the Europa League very, the knockout stages very, very easily. I obviously disagree with him because I sat there and thought, I don't think it's quality at all. I just think it's just we've got the most money, and that's what's shown with some of the teams that have got through in the Europa League this season. Mainly because the English teams have got through this season because they've got the most money, they've got the most revenues, and that's why they've been able to flex their muscles. And the teams are and it's shown in the Europe this season. You see what I'm saying? But it'd be interesting to see if it still is the case in the knockout stages for me, because we should be really getting to semi-final right now, and that's kind of a nightmare for me because I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, I'm just thinking, what are we going to have with Ange fans now? You know what I mean? But that's just my opinion, and that's all I've got to say. If everybody understands me, back to you, Savva. I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, guys, look, Danny, welcome to the show. Apparently, you stole Alex's thunder. I'm not sure what happened there, but welcome to the show. Look, AZ Alkmaar tonight. You used to live in the Netherlands, didn't you? You lived in there.
I still do live there. I'm just back in London for a little bit, just for now.
Okay, fair enough. How are AZ Alkmaar thought of in the Netherlands in terms of what sort of size club, if you had to base it relatively on the Premier League, like? Who are they kind of compared with for their league?
You probably see maybe a top 7 type of club, maybe I'd say. So maybe who'd they be equivalent to right now? I mean, I don't even know who's actually 7th in our league right now. Who's 7th in our league?
7th is Bournemouth, Newcastle, Brighton. They're 6th, 7th, 8th. Those three.
Yeah, they're above those kind of teams. Maybe kind of like an Aston Villa type. But obviously, Aston Villa are overperforming, I think, for where they are right now, especially in the last 2 years. Maybe Aston Villa 2 years ago. I think that's kind of like the level of their club where they see them.
Like Aston Villa when they were under Martin O'Neill, when they had Ashley Young and Agbonlahor on both wings.
That's exactly it. Yeah, that kind of level. You'd see they'd be competing for top 6, top 7 kind of team. That's what they are. But I just don't think that. I've said it many times, but I think it'll be the most disgraceful thing I've seen at Spurs for 20 years if we can't beat Alkmaar over 2 legs. I think it'll be an abomination, to be honest. And I think if he doesn't get sacked, if we come out and lose a tie to this team, then I'm not even going to watch Spurs anymore.
Also, Ajax if we play Ajax in the next round, Danny, or Ajax aren't great either.
No,
at the moment.
I also,
What?
if we get
Okay,
through
Ajax.
and we play Ajax, I still think we should beat Ajax. No question. They're not
Where
the
are
same team
Ajax?
anymore.
Ajax are in the top 4 at the moment, aren't they? But they're
top.
not that. Oh, they are top at the moment.
Yeah.
'Cause
But they're
league
still
is
not as
changed.
good as they used to be. They're nowhere near the level they used to
That,
be, and
that
they don't even
Ajax
have
team, that
proper
Ajax
recognised
team that took
striker.
us to that Ajax team that took us to the wire in the Champions League was a far superior team to that. With like
Oh, that was, yeah.
top quality in like Frankie De Jong and Van der Beek when he was in top form. There's some Ziyech as well in that team.
Yeah.
They had
They
some
had some
top
class
quality
players.
in that team, like ridiculous quality.
In Five-star lit, they
Nowhere
had,
near as good as that team, so we should get through them.
Please note the shirt.
Do you think, can I ask a question? Do you think now the Champions League teams are not in the not coming down from the Champions League teams are coming down to the competition now? It's kind of made competition a little bit less.
Definitely.
Because I do feel like that this season. I think when they had more of the Champions League coming down from the Champions League teams coming down into the Europa League, I think it really made it a bit more competitive. You see what I'm saying? But it just feels like to me that it's just funny that now whoever wins the Europa League still goes into the Champions League, even though the teams from the Champions League don't fall down into the Europa League. It's quite funny for me, really, because you would think
Well, it makes it the easiest. It gives it the easiest chance of winning it for the teams already in the Europa League, right? The fact that we haven't all looked over our shoulder and gone, "Oh bloody hell, Juventus have dropped into it." Who got knocked out? Man City, Juventus, clubs that have gone out. Right now, we'd be going, well, they're the favourites for the Europa League. Yeah. So it does make
it was always that way, wasn't it?
Whoever win it. Is that fair?
It's because they wanted Sevilla to stop winning it because they knew that Sevilla would always be in the top 4 or thereabouts. They would always go out the Champions League, finish 3rd, and then they'd go on a romp and win the Europa. They wanted to stop Sevilla winning the Europa League every single year because it was
always one of the teams that came 3rd in their group got put in Europa
Sevilla.
League.
It was always Sevilla that won it.
They would immediately become the favourites to go on and win it every year, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, I just think that this is the best chance we've got to win it, and I'm not trying to say that lightly. That this is really genuinely the best chance we've got in a long time to win it. But whether or not we do that or not is another thing.
Danny the happy clapper. What's happened to you, Danny?
I genuinely, Ben. No, it's not even that. I honestly, if you look at who we've actually got in our squad, right? I'm sorry, but Ange should be winning this tournament. Like, if he's good enough, right? If he actually is good enough, I don't believe he will, but he should be winning that because a better manager with those players should be able to win that tournament.
I think we would challenge. We wouldn't win it.
No. Ben, there's no qualms about this, right? This team is good enough to win that. The players that we've got in our squad are good enough to win this tournament.
We don't
what's
have
left
enough
in the tournament.
We don't have enough match winners.
The difference is we might. No, Ben, we have enough. Like, I'm sorry, but people. I know we're not the greatest team, but we have got enough to win that tournament. Especially if we get all our players back and then they come back from injury, right? We have got more than enough to win that tournament. And if we don't, it shows, for me, it goes against the manager and the way he can manage that team. That for me is what it tells me about how good that manager is. Because if he can't do it with these players, then he's got to go. I mean, everyone wants him gone anyway. But the thing is, I'm sorry, but he's got more than in this tournament.
Put things in perspective. Yeah, 2 years ago when West Ham win the competition got to semi-final with the Champions League teams in, coming from that, right? That puts things in perspective, right? So if that was David Moyes,
see, they didn't, mate, because they won the Conference League. You don't go from the.
They didn't win the
no. 2 years ago, I think it was. They were in the Europa League, I think it was.
Yeah, they won the conference, but the year before.
You're right.
That's what
You're right.
They had what I would call a world-class leadership candidate in their team as Declan Rice. We don't have any player. We don't have a world-class leadership. We don't have game winners in our team.
But Ben, if you look at our squad, see, I think what's happened this season, and you guys might disagree, I think what's happened is because we've been so badly set up, we look so wide open. I think now we're starting to talk about all our players being worse than they actually are.
Probably.
Because in the summer, no one was talking about Spurs being bottom half. In the summer, no one, like, I don't know how many times I've said this on stream. In the summer, if I had said, swap our squad with Bournemouth's, haha, you're an idiot, Savva. Swap our squad with Brighton's. Swap our squad with Fulham, Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth. Everyone would have laughed. Now, all of a sudden, it's, yeah, but he's shit, he's shit, he's shit, he's shit, he's shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, hang on. Some of those, imagine if at Fulham, Marco Silva had a Basuma.
Yeah.
Right?
But you'll be playing him better.
In his tactics, Basuma would look brilliant because he'd play him in his right position, get the best out of him, put his arm around him and say, you're my main man. Right? The same way Brighton got the best out of him at Brighton. We done it with James Maddison. We're the only fan base in the world who got a proven playmaker that had a history of loads of goals and loads of assists. And we're the only fan base going, yeah, I'm not sure how good James Maddison is. Well, yeah, I'm not sure how good he is if you play him in central midfield on the halfway line.
We
Can I just add something to that, right? Well, just quickly, right? That people actually remember last season and actually compare, right? Last season, we finished 5th with 66 points. We finished above Chelsea, who by far on paper have got a way better team than we had, right? Look at where Chelsea are this season and look at where we are. Now, based on what we actually have, you could probably say technically, well, on paper, we have a better team than we did last season because we bought a striker, we bought a few other players, and maybe not enough as we never do. But the fact that on paper we had a better team than last year. So for me, that shows exactly where the manager's abilities have cost us this season because there's no way you can have a better team and underperform the way we have performed. Like Chelsea have played a bit more to where their kind of level is this season, whereas we've completely dropped off a cliff. And that's the difference. Like, there's no one can sit here and say that we have a lesser squad than last season, yet do you know what I mean? It's just, it doesn't make any sense.
Danny, very quickly, did you say we finished on 66 points last season?
Yeah, 66 points.
Do you know we need to win? We've got 11 games left.
Yeah.
We need to win every single one of them just to get the same amount of points as we did last season.
Yeah, we know that's not going to happen.
We need 11 wins.
I know. But
so
Danny,
whatever happens...
Ryan Daigle says Spurs will win their last 11
games. That's not
God.
I said Spurs need to win.
No, it's mad. It's mad.
Right, and hang on a minute. Last season, when we did finish 5th, that was an absolute disgrace because after 10 games, if you're top of the tree after 10 games, 96% of teams go on to get top 4, but not us. We're in the 4% that don't. So it was a disgrace us finishing 5th last year.
I'd just love to see this squad with a tactical manager that doesn't go gung ho. That's all I'd like to see. I'd love to see if Silva had this squad, right? If I'm not even going ridiculous, by the way. You notice I'm not talking about Ancelotti's and Pep's. If Silva had this squad, if Glasner had this squad, I think even with the injuries, we would be so well drilled and so well set up. Palace have got one of the best defenses in the league. Crystal Palace, who lost one of their best centre backs in the summer, then lost Chalobah in the January window back to Chelsea. Right, didn't replace him in the transfer market. Still look rock solid at the back. They've got Will Hughes and Wharton in midfield. Now, if I'd said to anyone, we're starting the season with Will Hughes in midfield, people would have lost their mind. If I'd said we're going to have Munoz as our right wing back, right, we're going to have Mitchell as our left wing back, we're going to have, Chris Richards at centre half, they've got, the American, Lacroix, who was Van der Ven's defensive partner at Wolfsburg.
I love him.
Right? If I had said we're going to have all of these players, people would have lost their minds and said, that's shit. He's above us in the table. He's had loads of injuries. He's above us. Like, I want to see these players, Danny, with a manager that goes, right, Basuma, oh, you're not a DM. Right, well, let's get you where you are then.
Yeah.
Oh, Maddison, you're a playmaker. Okay, let's get you there. Oh, Johnson, you're not a right winger. Sonny, you're not a left winger.
You know what it's like, Sam?
Ogie, that's all I want to see.
It kind of feels like he's he's bought players to fit a particular system that he's not using. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Square pegs and round holes, Danny. It's my saying.
Yeah, that's what it
round
feels
holes.
like. It's like he's brought in these players, and you think, okay, you can kind of see what he's doing by bringing in the players, right? Some of them are definitely arguable. Like some of them you just think, like, what the hell is he doing? Like, for me, Brennan Johnson is just, I don't know why he brought him in the first place. But the fact that some of the players he has brought in to fit what looks like you'd think a certain system, but then he's completely not playing the system to suit the players that he's got. So that to me shows his inept abilities in how he can, and what his tactics are like during a game. And it's all over the place. And yeah, I do think that he needs to completely go this summer, right? Or if we go out to Alkmaar, he needs to be sacked. Like,
but Danny, some of the Yanj fans will say, right, to be devil's advocate, because we have to do that, right? They'll say, well, at Celtic, he had had a bad start. He had a bad start, right? They'll say that, well, Arteta has had a bad couple of seasons, and that's it. Now, listen. Yeah. I made the mistake of saying I made a mistake. I admit it right now. But when I said at the beginning of the season, I said I need to see a bad spell with this manager, and then I'll come on board. I made a big mistake saying that. I admit it right now, yeah, because for me, it was a wrong mistake, because you can see when someone's a good coach within 18 months. You should be seeing that. You know what I mean? At least, you know what I mean? Because the new season.
Look at Harry Redknapp, Alex. Harry Redknapp had us playing good football within 5 games, even when we were 2 points from 8 games. He came in and he put proper players in proper positions. He put Modric in a creative midfield position. He moved Gareth Bale to more of an attacking left back before he had got Danny Rose to come in, and Benoit Suricotto, who then came into the team. Star. He put players in the positions that he knew would thrive. Look at our players. You've got someone like Brennan Johnson, and I get a lot of flack for giving a lot of support for Brennan Johnson because of his goal output. He's been given a lot of goals. He's playing Brennan Johnson in a position he's not good at. He's never been good at. He's incapable of tracking back, and people are slaughtering him. Brennan Johnson's never played right wing in his career. He's always played as a shadow second striker, wherever he's been, especially for Wales, where for Wales he plays more up top on his own if he's not playing with, what's his name, what's that big lanky dude that was at Bournemouth, if he's not playing. Brennan Johnson's always been a second striker, and we dig him out because the manager doesn't play him in the right position, and it's not his fault that. But the reason you go at Ange is we paid over the odds for Brennan Johnson. He had a bid accepted for him at Brentford for £33 million, and we paid 15 million over that just to get him in. We paid over the odds for him, then we play him out of position.
That's where you question. That's where you question, because look, for me, Johnson, I agree, he's not a right winger at all. But the fact that Ange must have said that he sees him as a right winger to bring him in to play as a right winger, that's a manager's decision, right? And him playing him there still is his decision. So for him to kind of say, bring him in for 50 million and I'm going to play him as my right winger when he doesn't do not much during a game, to be honest with you, it's always like
ghost games.
You feel like you're playing with 10 men, and then in some games against rubbish teams, he pops up with little tap-ins, and then everyone thinks that he's like God's gift or something. And look, it's no disrespect to him, right? But he's just a bang average footballer. He just really is. He hasn't got any football intelligence whatsoever, right? Even his tap-ins sometimes are questionable. Like, he sometimes doesn't even have confidence to do it, and he puts it back. Genuinely. It's like, even at the Ipswich game,
if he's putting them in the back of the net, Danny, he's putting them in the back of the net.
Yeah, but the problem is,
his stats are looking good though. His stats are looking good.
I know, Alex.
Look, this is what people argue back and say. They'll say that, and I'm even getting Man United fans twerking for this guy. This is how bad it's getting. Man United fans are so bad. Man United are so bad, right? It's scoring goals, looking at Johnson and saying, "I have a bit of that because he's got so much good GA."
The thing is, they won't though. As soon as they,
but Ruben Amorim called me last night, Alex, to see if I could play this weekend for Man United. So they're in a bad space at the moment.
This is what I'm hearing. This is what I hear though, Savva. And I think you do a show with all different fans anyway, rivals, don't you? I bet you've heard it from them as well. You know what I mean?
Do you
No,
know,
I
I
bet you've heard
like
it from
what
them as
No
well.
Nonsense has said. He said Johnson is the fastest, slowest man ever.
Yeah, he is.
But
And that's- you know,
don't
it's
we
like-
always do this, guys? Like we went to Nottingham Forest, and you're thinking, right, go to Forest, at least come back with Gibbs
Morgan
White.
Gibbs White. Yeah.
My man, my
Everyone
boy.
is saying it.
With Gibbs White.
Everyone
No.
is saying it.
No, we went to Everton. We went to Everton. We came back with Richarlison. Like, you know, we can't even go to these clubs and take their best players. We're going to these lower level teams and taking. Listen, Brennan Johnson. I'll say it, he's absolutely brilliant with the tap-ins. Brilliant. I've got no doubt. Problem is, in those games where he's not getting a tap in, it's like playing with 10 men.
Yeah.
He is so. I've never seen anyone get the ball on the right, and not be able to cross a ball. Every time he crosses it, he just smashes it at the fullback. There's no, there's no.
A lot of ground as well, Sav. He doesn't
But
whip it into
here's
the
the
air.
thing,
Yeah.
Trevor. If we played the tactics that suited tap-ins and we played a more counter-attacking system, you'd get the better out of him. Because if you had wing backs and you played Johnson as a let's say we've got all our players fit. You played Johnson and Solanke up top, and you put in Maddison in behind them as the number 10, and you played a 3-5-2, and you said the moment big games, go up the ball, cross the ball, tap in. Johnson would thrive.
You know what's funny?
What about a scenario like this?
You know what's quite ironic? It's quite ironic that Nottingham Forest right now play a very counter-attacking style of football, and I think he'd probably fit their system with Nuno right now than he did before. That's what's funny is that he actually would.
That's the way.
Do Forest miss him?
And wants to play with people who are good with the ball at their feet, and Johnson is not that. So why bring a player in?
Do Forest miss him, Danny?
No, they don't. But I genuinely think that he would actually suit their system way better now.
I've said this manager looks at the team and he does the opposite of what our players are good at. What's Udogie good at? Getting down the wing with his pace, his power, his strength. What does he do? He inverts him and plays in midfield. Pedro Porro, he's got one amazing ability, which is to cross the ball. Cross the ball in high. He's a good crosser of the ball. Plays in midfield. He gets into invert. Maddison, our best playmaker of the team, plays him on the half. It's like he does it on purpose. And he does it on purpose.
Can I just say, Dave, no, you're not hearing that. What we're talking about is how this manager has bought players to play them out of position. We're saying if you buy a Brennan Johnson, surely you play him to his strengths. That's not Dave. Don't you do this, Dave. Don't you do this to me, Dave.
So what?
And I've WhatsApped you, by the way, David. I've WhatsApped you.
Am I hearing this right?
So this is a scenario.
No chance.
Why don't you play Johnson more closer to Solanke? Play Maddison on the left, right? So he can cut in, right? And then he's got a little bit more freedom.
Or play wing backs, Alex, so you don't have to move anybody out of position.
No. I hear you. We've gone through that, Savva. I agree with you, right? We've said this already. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just trying to put a scenario out there to try and make it a little bit. You know what I mean? So, like I'm saying, put Maddison on the left. Then you've got Spence at left back, right? Because he can cover, because he's very strong. Then you've got Porro maybe on the right, possibly. All right. Then you've got your two centre backs. I'm still having Danzo all day long. I'm sorry, right? And then the two have to fight it out between Romero and Van der Ven. Sorry, right? As far as I'm concerned, right? And then the midfield. I've got no idea of the midfield. Unfortunately, I would just do a double pivot because I just don't trust any of our midfields at the moment, as far as I'm concerned. And then that's really it. And then maybe you have Kulu on the right, possibly, if he was fit.
Do you know what, Alex? I always go back to my tried and tested, right? I always go back to something like this. Now, I'll change the players, but I always go back to one of two things. I'm going to show you both, right? I'm going to show you both, right? For me, this was before the season started. So for me, I would go Vicario, Romero, Danso, Van der Ven, right? You can have Porro and Udogie. Spence can be one of those positions. Bentancur, Basuma, whichever one you want to play in midfield. Kulu could go into that midfield, if we're going to be honest, because you've got the three centre-backs there. Maddison in his actual position, not on the halfway line. And then you could play Solanke with either Son or Johnson. Solanke is your target man. Son or Brennan Johnson as actually runners that run off him trying to score goals, right? Now, the other one I had was this. This was the other one where this was, if you wanted to play, instead of Son, you could play Kulu where Son is and have Madison and Kulu not tied to any area. They can float left, float right, play in the middle. You've got your width from your fullbacks, right? Now, forget the individuals that are in those positions. This, for me, seems to be a consensus across most football fans I speak to that aren't even Spurs fans that say, why aren't Tottenham playing wing-backs when you've got 4 wing-backs at the club in Reggie, Spence, Adogi?
Reggie's more of a fullback, though, Savva. Reggie's more of a fullback in a back four.
I'm just lumping him in that he could do it because he actually did do it at times for Seville when they switched it up.
Okay,
right? You've got those 4 that can play that area. You've got centre halves now galore, if you think about it, with Van der Ven, Romero, Dragosin, Danso, Davis, Vuskovic, Phillips. You've got central midfielders you could rotate. Archie Gray can play in there. Bergval, Basuma, Sarr. I'm missing one. I think I've missed one. Bentancur. You've got playmakers. You've got forwards. I don't understand it. So instead, what we're doing is playing fullbacks with no fullbacks, wingers when we don't have wingers. It just all seems, I don't know if this is just me trying to uncomplicate something, but it feels like we're just complicating everything. Everything.
I've said for ages and ages, Antonio Conte would kill for this defence.
Sure.
He would have killed for this back 3, back 5, whatever, when he was here.
Yeah. Especially now you've got Danso as well. So when you have that back 3, Romero would be the centre. So he's the guy. If he can now. If we had the back 3 and Romero was in the centre, Romero could leave his position, go into midfield to try and win the ball back and then progress the play further. And you would still have Van der Ven and Danso who could then compress. And when you need to, you would have that defensive wall behind him. That would allow Romero to be his bozo self when he wants to be and charge out of the defensive line and try and win the ball high up the pitch. You can. That's a more balanced team. When Udogi was playing for Italy this year, he looks good. He looks because they play 3 at the back because it's Italy. Of course, they play 3 at the back and 5 in midfield. He looks good playing for Italy because that's where he suits. Because he's a willing runner and he's strong. He's a big, strong. How tall is Udogi? 6'2", 6'3". He's a tall bloke. He's a tall, fast bloke. So it's play players in their correct positions and you'll immediately get better results because you're not constantly having to think, oh, I've got to be there. I'm having to be there now. It's natural. You naturally go into your correct position.
It's square pegs and round holes all the time with this team.
Ben, it's a good analogy what you're saying, mate. But it's like we've been saying for quite a while now. We've been saying that for quite a while now. He ain't changing. You get what I'm saying? So this is what I'm saying.
If you're going to agree with me, Alex, you've got to say, don't get used to it.
Yeah, no. Because the thing is,
don't get used to it,
Ben. I'm not being funny, yeah. Dan the Hotspur Hood was saying this for a year now, a long time ago, and he's been saying the same since last till now this day. So this is the thing. I don't want to repeat what we've said before, but he ain't changing. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying at the moment. I'm thinking of a back 4 at the moment because that's what he's doing at the moment, right? And I'm just trying to figure out a configuration of what you can do with that midfield, right? And the strike force at the moment, right? Okay. By the way, me saying this, Savva putting what he's done at the moment, absolutely spot on, right? That should be us as a team. Absolute spot on what he's done, yeah? With the formation, absolutely. I see that. You could even play a back 5 sometimes when when you're defensive as well. Absolutely spot on there. But because he don't do that, right? He hasn't done it. Right, and he's not going to do it because if he would have done it, he would have done it already. Right, I'm now looking at that back 4 now, right, going forward, and looking at how you can configure that midfield so we're not so open in certain games. Because if you're like in that scenario of Liverpool versus PSG, I know it's Champions League and all, right, and PSG are absolutely annihilating you, right. I dread to think what we would be like. You know what I mean?
Because we would get slaughtered. We'd get
absolutely slaughtered.
We get slaughtered.
You see what I'm saying? So,
I mean, I love Vicario. I love Vicario, but he couldn't have done what Alisson did last night.
Well, that's the
Alisson,
point.
that was one of the best goalkeeping performances I've ever seen from Alisson yesterday. One of the best goalkeeping performances I've ever seen.
I've never seen such daylight robbery as that game yesterday. That was absolute robbery from Liverpool.
Definitely.
Mate, it gave Tim Krul Newcastle versus us vibes.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. I mean,
free plug here, Savva. I didn't actually watch it. I was watching you on Big Up, mate.
Oh, big up to you and big up to me for being on Big Up with the big bucks. Big up to everyone.
Yes.
Just quickly, before we wrap up, Rob, listen, I feel like I give a fair amount of critique to lots of players. It's just that we were talking about Brennan Johnson then. I think everybody knows that I don't rate Papa Sarr in any way, shape or form.
Same.
I think Papa Sarr I reckon Papa Sarr was brilliant at the 1,500 meters at school. I reckon he was absolutely brilliant at that. I reckon he's got a great engine on him. Don't rate him really as a footballer with a ball at his feet. Bentancur, I mean, I get slammed all the time for giving my opinion on Bentancur. I think he's a really overrated footballer. I think he's neat. I think he's tidy. I think he wants to play the game at his own pace too much, and a lot of games pass him by, but he's okay. However, I'd love to see Bentancur with a better manager. So I hear what you're saying. Brennan Johnson, I suppose, at 50 million gets a lot of flack because he was Ange's signing, right? He was Ange's big signing of that summer window, if we're going to be honest. So, guys, I'm going to wrap it up because I just realised I'm live again in about 3.5 hours for there's a game going on tonight. Anybody got anything they desperately want to say before I shut this down?
I'll just say one thing very, very quick. I just want to say I am delighted because I'm a big fan of him that Dominic Solanke is finally back. I honestly, I'm so happy that he's back. I honestly think, like, obviously he hasn't got the goals that we need. I think that's purely on not being able to give him service. I've loved his work rate. I've loved his movement. I'm a big fan of Solanke, and we've needed a striker. I think if he started against Man City, he was fit. Those crosses from Porro, he's on the end of them. I'm just to end on a big positive from me. I'm a big fan of Solanke, and I'm just happy to see that he's back.
I'm not even going to respond to that because it will start another 10, 15-minute debate. I think a very average striker who's done absolutely nothing all season.
That's fine.
Never mind. Horses for courses. Horses for courses.
We all see football differently. We all see football differently, and that is the beauty of football. If you've got an opinion, come on the show. We have a good conversation about it. We agree to disagree. It's like being in the pub, and Danny will turn up 6 hours late like he usually does.
Don't get used to it as well, Ben, yeah? For Mr.
Don't
Boxes.
get used to
Don't
it.
get used to it, yeah?
I am used to Danny being 6 hours late. I've been used to it. I've known the guy for 4 years now. He's always late.
I'll say that I think some people might need to take a revisit to Specsavers and get their eyes checked because some people's opinions are absolutely insane. To be honest, that's my opinion.
Is that you having a pop at Brian Daigle?
Yeah, well, it could be having a pop at anyone.
Mate, Solanke gets the service, he'll get the goals. It's as simple as that, in my opinion, but he hasn't got the service.
I'll tell you what, I've seen him miss a lot of chances this year to tell me that that's not true.
I
But
think Solanke's just an average player.
Dave.
Danny, do you know what? I think that's the difference. I think he's okay, Solanke. I think we're putting him on a pedestal purely because he's been injured.
Do you know why, Sav?
Look, I've been saying that since we started, mate.
It's because people are so starved of actual good footballers these days. That's what it is.
He's not a great striker. We've had so many good strikers at this football club.
I'll tell you what, we'll have this debate tomorrow when I come on the graveyard shift to your 24-hour stream, Sav.
Listen, we can debate everything over that 24 hours. With that in mind, people, we will be back today for later today for Tottenham versus Alkmaar. Tottenham, sorry, I can't say Tottenham. For Tottenham Hotspur away at Alkmaar. Then tomorrow,
Jack, where did I say that Solanke was world class? I don't understand what we do. I said I'm happy that he's back. I think if we give him the service, he scores. And somehow that's translated to I've said he's world class.
Yeah.
I'm going to you know what? I try not to say other people's sayings. Just because it's your show, I'm going to say your one. What are we doing here?
What are we doing here?
Perchies. I stole it from Perchy. I can't lie.
What are we doing here?
So Brian Daigle in this show has said Solanke's world class
Yep.
and Tottenham are winning their last 11 league games
Yep,
of the season.
Yep. They're winning their last 11 league games. I think Spence should play we should just play 11 Jet Spences. I think Angie's trading methods are phenomenal.
Yeah.
And this will just toughen them up and make them stronger.
Oh yeah, Fokov said he heard Daigle say he was world class.
I think you just annoyed Alex too much.
Alex is gone.
Right.
Alex has seen enough.
So we are going to go, just so you know, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. on a serious note, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. all the way through to 8 p.m. on Saturday. We have got our fifth 24-hour charity stream, 5 of the buggers. And so far we've raised just over 20.5k from the 4 we've already done. So tomorrow we're looking to try and get that over 25k. Please join us for that, where I'm sure there's going to be so much debate, rows, crying, laughing. We're going to have we're going to have a shirt auction as well for the shirt of your choice, Premier League shirt of your choice. We'll have an auction. We'll have watch-alongs because of all the games going on Saturday. And we'll have
Nick's
some
gonna eat
fight.
48 nuggets.
No nugget challenge this time. I can't do it to myself. Nick can't
Summer, don't try and make out you actually tried last time. Yeah, don't come with that.
Mate, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So please join shamelessly. I will put the link in if anyone is feeling kind to get the ball rolling before the show starts tomorrow night. I've put some money in there. We've had a couple of donations. Please, there is the link. It's a tiny little URL. It's not normally that small, but it's purely because StreamYard don't accept long URLs. Please do whack some money in if you can. If not, I'll see you later for the watch along. Brian, thank you. Danny, thank you.
My
Nick,
pleasure.
thank you.
Thank you.
Mark Sheriff has done the full journey on this one. Thank you very much. Mikal, thank you. Alex, thank you. Danny came in for a bit as well. Thank you very much. Much love. Take care. And as always,
Solanke for Ballon d'Or.
Solanke for Ballon d'Or. We're going to end every show like that. And
Solanke
as always,
for Ballon d'Or.
Solanke for Ballon d'Or. And super sticker that I missed. Thank you very much to the Sanctuary of 7. And as always, Solanke for Ballon d'Or.